Hey everyone, it's T. I didn't plan this at all, but something within me felt it necessary to watch the Disney Channel original movie Get a Clue once again in my adulthood. And I thought, why not do like a little analysis on it? I was thinking that it could be similar to the things that I've done in the past, but the whole thing is, as I was trying to script this, I realized I cannot, like I couldn't script this at all. I apparently watched this movie so many times as a kid that upon rewatching it, my brain shut off. And so I could not form a thought of analysis while I was trying to script this. So, you know what? We're just going to watch it raw. And you're just going to have to go along for the ride with me. The one thing that I did remember from the movie was the just iconic looks Lindsay Lohan and Brenda Song wore throughout. And of course, the style of the movie in general. So, Get a Clue is a Disney Channel original movie. It is a tween dream, let me tell you. What does the synopsis say? 13-year-old fashionista Lexi Gold prides herself on getting the inside scoop for her school's gossip column. But when her English teacher, Mr. Walker, goes missing, Lexi takes the lead on what could be the story of the century, teaming up with her friends to find out... to find out what really happened to Mr. Walker. It's a mystery. It's one of the few decom mysteries that I've ever seen, and as it's a mystery, it's kind of like very formulaic. But apparently, I didn't care as a child. I was obsessed. So this has nothing to do with anything, but the song at the beginning, it's so good. But I remember the music video because they would play it in between like commercials. The whole thing takes place in New York and is very like, here's how New York we are. It's appealing to a child. So we start on Lindsay Lohan's room. I always love the way that, especially early 2000s movies styled teen bedrooms. It always looked straight out of, I don't know, like a magazine. And for like something that's only going to be on screen for like 10 seconds is a really good like show of detail. The idea of having like a fuzzy cover for your computer monitor, a heel-shaped chair, whatever's happening with these bed sheets, the see-through technology. Also, everything is color coordinated. There's the pops of green on the tech. There's this bedazzled headset thing. There's the purple flowers and fuzzy things and stationery. There's even like stickers stuck to the computer monitor. Just realized as I was editing, there's a practical reason for it. They covered up the brand names of the computer. I don't know. I'm always just flabbergasted with the teen girl bedroom aesthetic that a lot of these movies have. And even Brenda Song's room that we see through the computer screen, you can see that they wrapped curtains around the banister of the bed to make it look interesting, and it also matches with the actual bed sheets. There's a little pink light in the background to give some interest. Like, they obviously didn't decorate her room as much as Lindsay Lohan's because we spend even less time in there and there's only like one camera angle. It's still impressive. And also I like this idea that like they're showing that these two teens are rich by showing that they're like FaceTiming each other. I have a headset and I own a computer and it's in my own room. It's very like, it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years since this has happened. I also like that they contrast her sister and her sister's style, for lack of a better word, with her own. Like, her sister is the more tomboy, techie kind of person. I love that they used like, there used to be a store when I was like 6 or 7. It sold like kids' spy gear, science toys and stuff like that. Her little sister's whole setup is very reminiscent of that. Her sister's room is lots of primary colors, red, yellow, blue, a lot more weird shapes, boyish, for lack of a better word, props, a lot of visual clutter. Love that they made like a weird 10-year-old mad scientist. But they made it work and they made it seem plausible. I also like they gave her a personality that kind of is necessary for the story in that she gives her sister spy gear, but is also different and interesting. In my experience with Disney movies, this character would have been written as maybe a little brother character, and it warmed my tiny nerd heart that she existed, I guess, when I was a kid. And kind of goes with the overall look of the whole film. All the tech is very kid-friendly, that kind of stuff. So in order to show that these kids go to a private school in Manhattan, they show that, like, everyone is dressed really well, especially Lexi is dressed really well, bright colors and interesting fabrics and stuff. I went to private school on like a scholarship. They dressed in t-shirts. I don't think this is how private school kids really dress, but it's very Gossip Girl, tween Gossip Girl. I am wondering like what the costume budget for this was. And they probably pulled from the Disney vault, if you will. A lot of the teen extras are dressed to the nines, leather or pleather, printed patterns, faux fur, but in particular, the printed pieces that Lindsay Lohan wears throughout, it's stuff that I don't even see nowadays, now that like Y2K is within the zeitgeist again. There was a lot of focus on simplicity almost within the early 2000s as far as fashion is concerned. I think this really shows just like the loudness of the Disney aesthetic. Just looking at the way that they've decorated different spaces within this film, I realized that it has affected me deeply somehow. Whenever I want to make like a bedroom in a film and style it, this is very similar, and it's actually freaking me out a little bit. I've never had a non-influenced thought, I suppose, because apparently this movie has shaped my entire life. I also find it funny that when she thinks her teacher is missing, she decides to wear all black. This scene with Brenda Song, iconic, incredible. Also, this butterfly acrylic makeup case that I'm 90% sure is from Claire's being used as a purse, amazing. She has a matching binder somehow to her outfit. Like, they thought of even those minor details, which I thought was interesting. I also just love that no tween dresses like this. No tween is wearing a fuzzy, off-the-shoulder lace stockings. I also do like that, like, the adults are not the main, let's say, draw of this whole story, but they do at least style them in consistent ways that match their character. The kind of quiet, withdrawn teacher is shown wearing like pastel colors, soft and flowy fabrics. They talk several times about the teacher who goes missing and his ugly coat, because he does not care about fashion. Also, this is not about the fashion at all, but I just love that they did an entire montage. They used this chance to exposition dump, basically. I think it's very indicative of the era and of the genre itself. Also, the scene where they're like talking to each other and there's like two faces in the frame and they're very close. And it's like panning between Lindsay Lohan and Brenda Song and just like going back and forth. Very 2000s. Love it. It also seems like they bring almost everything that was popular during this era. The faux fur, bedazzled t-shirts, capri pants, bell bottoms, camo print. I was obsessed with all of this as a kid. I wanted to wear all of it. What was that store? There was a very expensive store. Limited 2. It's very limited 2. So throughout this entire film, there's like this weird subplot / theme. Poor people are people too. Just a wild thing to put in a Disney movie. Like, how many millionaire 12-year-olds are watching Disney Channel? I don't know. There could be a lot. I wasn't one of them. Because Lexi is an upper middle class girl that has never left Manhattan, and she teams up with and eventually has a crush on a boy from the other side of the tracks, if you will. He lives in Brooklyn. Heaven forbid he lives in Brooklyn. He doesn't wear nice clothes. It's like a rich, poor love story. the teacher that goes missing, we learn that he was rich in the past, or at least, like successful monetarily. And now he's like a teacher and he likes that better. He gives his coat to a homeless man. And then we find out later that that homeless man is like the mayor. And no one was nice to him except this teacher who gave him his coat. I also think the unhoused man was supposed to be a red herring for who might have killed the teacher. And the moral would have been, don't judge a book by its cover. But it didn't land, and it somehow felt more classist to even try and introduce that. I remember even as a kid thinking, this is weird. This is a random thing that they put in this movie, and I don't know why. And now I think I know why. I think it's because they needed more time. They were like, we have this script, and now it's like a 50-minute movie, and we need like 10 more minutes. Can we squeeze 10 more minutes into this movie? Lexi goes to Brooklyn and she starts walking around and everyone's staring at her. People stop in the middle of the street to stare at her. And it's like, people in New York would not do that. Even if they haven't ever left Queens or Brooklyn, they're not going to stop traffic to stare at you because you're wearing pink and red. Like, New Yorkers don't care. I don't know, the lengths that they went through to like try and get this theme to have legs. I realize that I'm switching between visuals and the plot a lot here, but in my defense, I was watching this chronologically with no script, and fixing it in post is not within my wheelhouse. They even put design in the minor child characters' rooms, like this kid whose name I cannot remember. They were just like, okay, we need tapes, we need multicolored VHSs, and that's going to be his room. He's going to be obsessed. They had this Radio Shack remote, which is beautiful. It's just, I love clunky tech. I love old clunky tech. Life is so much better with old clunky tech. But yeah, they do a good job of making it so that no matter what kind of tween you are, there's something aspirational about all of these styles or ways of decorating, these lifestyles. There's something for everyone, which I think is very, very Disney. It's funny, I didn't realize this until I was an adult, or maybe I didn't realize it consciously. Lexi being obsessed with fashion is actually story relevant. Knowledge of fashion is one of the reasons why the case is solved. She realizes that the quote-unquote police officer is wearing clothes that are too expensive for detective. She realizes that the brooch that one of the characters is wearing is going to solve the whole thing. Like I said, she notices the coat on the homeless man, which has nothing to do with the story, but is part of their deciding to add time to the movie. It's funny to me. This is another aside, but these children commit like several felonies. They put like a camera in front of a teacher's window and like actively spy on her. Crimped hair. I wanted to crimp my hair so badly when I was a kid, and guess what? It does that on its own anyway, not right now. But the crimped hair and the bumped edges, a quilt print Applejack hat. It actually reminds me of the fact that the early 2000s was very steeped in reviving trends from the 70s. You could sell that whole outfit online right now for like $200. Their spy outfits are incredible. What an era. Why can't we bring filmmaking like this back? We'll just go one by one. Lindsay Lohan's long leather duster jacket with the white and black. They've mostly given her only printed pants, which I love that motif for her character throughout. A bejeweled belt. They've given her stilettos for some reason. Brenda Song is also wearing a pair of printed jeans, which I love. And of course, the one poor person is wearing a bomber jacket. I'm not sure. I don't actually know if that's the reason why they did that, but he's obviously wearing a less expensive outfit than the other three. A less expensive, less designer outfit. Their wedding outfits are incredible. The little butterfly stick-ons on Lindsay Lohan's dress. I don't even know what shape Brenda Song's dress is supposed to be at the bottom. It's iconic either way. I think it's a two-piece. I think that's, yeah, it's a shirt. It's a shirt over a skirt-ish thing that has like mesh overlaid on top and draped in a way. The beginning of the Disney mess. This was clean and cool and fun. They started to get a little zany later on. This movie was a ride. This movie was a trip. It's an hour if you need something to do. That dress is really just horrible, isn't it? Yes, in conclusion, every look was iconic. Great attention to detail. Story was simple and also had questionable themes. If you watched this as a kid, probably 20 times like I did, let me know. But yeah, if you like this, you can like it, subscribe if you want, comment if you feel like it, and I'll catch you next time.